Hi, hi everyone. I just happened to watch this movie, Perfect Days, and just thought I should share a thing or two that I kind of noticed in it. I kind of imbibed from it. And this is about a person who is actually he's a janitor, and his duty is to clean up all the public toilets in Japan, in Tokyo, where he's working and living. So his day starts with, just going out there in his van and covering a certain area, like area where there are a number of toilets there, here and there. So maybe there's an area allocated to him where he has to clean it up. And that's how his day goes by. So what I noticed in this movie, of course, see, even before you watch the movie, you tend to get a lot of information about it, right? With all the kind of the gadgets, the things that we engage with. So I knew that this is the movie is about maybe being in the moment and something like that. It's quite slow and very meaningful for that matter. So I knew a thing or two about it, and that's the reason I thought I'll watch it. Well, after watching it, I understood there's a lot more, and the more you think about it, you get a lot of different perspectives to it, and it's very deep, of course. And I would say it's more like a book. The more you watch it, you interpret it in different ways. Maybe different people also might interpret in different ways. Just to give you a bit about what I got from it. It's not like a spoiler or anything, because I'm sure how much ever you tell about this movie, someone who would watch this movie after seeing this video also, they would get a lot more, I'm sure. So now this person, the first thing I noticed is that he lives alone, and there's a certain kind of discipline in his life, which is shown in the way he gets up. He keeps his stuff in certain areas, like his watch, his wallet, his camera, which I'll talk about later. All these things, he keeps it in a certain way. He gets up, he does certain things which are like his morning routine, morning chores. Like, for example, he waters his plants, which are next to his bedroom. Things like that. So there is a discipline in his life. His life is slow, and it looks peaceful as well. And then he starts his work, and the way he does his duty, that's also shown, like the way he cleans the toilet very diligently, every detail, nook and corner he cleans. And so it is seen that it's not that he loves his job. I wouldn't say he loves his job, but he's responsible. He knows that there is a certain kind of value in what he's doing, because the toilets are clean because of people like him. That's the kind of thought that he has, and that's the way he is able to do his work in such detailed manner. And there's an instance where he's cleaning, and there's someone who wants to use the toilet, and then he has to come out and he has to wait outside. So these are actually situations when someone would feel so devalued also, right? Like, that's a possibility. Someone would feel very low in self-esteem. And the movie shows that when he's standing outside, he looks at the trees. He kind of admires nature also at that time. So it kind of reminds us that even though there are things that happen in life, there are also certain things which, if we maybe look at or maybe turn our attention to, we would be able to savor it or enjoy it. So it's not about just chaos in life, and we need not be introduced to different other things to actually forget this chaos. It is just that we need to turn our attention to that. And then as the movie proceeds forward, then there are certain things, for example, certain scenes where his niece visits him because she has trouble at home, and she comes to his place to stay for a few days. And there he adjusts, he sleeps near the kitchen area so that his niece can sleep where, the proper bedroom area. And so he adjusts, and he's one person who doesn't speak a lot. So that's also shown here. But you can see that he values relationships. Now, it is not that he doesn't like people, and he values relationships. And for example, there was a colleague of his, a person who is also a janitor, a young person who is completely, he's not well behaved. He doesn't do his job properly, and he's young, and you know how young people are in a certain period of their life. where they are, trying to woo this girl, and he wants to try to impress his girlfriend and all that. So he wanted money for that, for which, he now this our main character has a certain inclination to listening to music, like music in his van. So he has these audio cassettes with him. So one of them, his colleague wanted to sell one of those to, so that he would get the money to impress his girlfriend. But finally, our main character, he ended up giving him money, because one thing was that the cassettes were priceless for him. Plus, but he knew that he wanted to help him out, and he did that too. So it shows that he values friendship, he values people around him. Same with how he behaves with his niece as well. The way he sacrifices a lot of things so that his niece can have a good time. And there are instances in the movie again where there was an instance, I wouldn't say much about it because I would want people to watch the movie. There's an instance where he says is, next time is next time, now is now. Now this dialogue I had listened to earlier also before watching the movie, and this kind of pulled me to watching it. So it's about being in the present moment as well. There are many scenes where he goes to a restaurant after his hard day's work and orders his favorite meal. Every night he does that. And the waiter always says that, this one's for you after your hard day of work. So this is something they always say when they serve the food. After a hard day's work, here you are. So, those are things which actually are very satisfying to watch, and as you see him enjoying these little moments, it kind of reminds us also as to what we should do with our lives. A lot of instances like this, and so you might feel that his life is very peaceful, he doesn't have much problems, he's anyways not doing much with his life. So again, that's one reason he might not have many issues with his life. But you see that there is an instance where his niece's mom, that's his sister, comes over to pick her up, and you can see that she's well off. I mean, she's rich and she comes in her luxurious car and all that. But that same scene would actually show you that his relationship with the rest of his family is not really going well. There are issues, and that's the reason he has not maybe he has no connection with his family. Maybe he has ran out of his home earlier in life, and that's something which you might understand from that. So he has issues, he has problems in his life. But all the more you see, there are certain interests that he has. He's interested in literature. He reads books over the night, and he, of course, I had mentioned earlier, he listens to music. He's passionate about music, and these audio cassettes also kind of remind us, people who have who are born in their 80s or maybe even 90s. I'm not sure. You all will be knowing about the audio cassettes that we had earlier. So it actually brings us back to that time. And also photography. There are instances where he sits out in a park bench and he has lunch, just a plain sandwich, and as he has lunch, he takes photos of the trees there. And you know what? He does it very systematically in a way that he has actually, it's a camera with a film in it, the old kind of camera, and he actually washes the film and gets proper photos and tucks it into boxes which are dated. So he has a whole cupboard of boxes with photos, dated from so and so day and all that. So what I see is that he is one person who lives in the present moment, captures those moments and kind of stores them in an organized manner, and he is living life to the fullest. And when I say living life to the fullest, don't mistaken or don't misunderstand by thinking that living life to the fullest is like spending a lot of money, doing bungee jumping or something like that. But it's about taking each moment and actually living it, rather than just going back to that statement, next time is next time, now is now. And finally, there is even a scene where he actually when he's driving, he actually cries and laughs at the same time. He's crying or he's laughing. You actually get a sense of both, and of course that's the reason he would have been appreciated for his acting in this film. Well, there's a lot I can just keep on talking about this movie, and I can, give you more. But I would want you all to watch this movie and take whatever you can out of it, because it's well made, and there's a lot of depth in it, and definitely worth a watch.